If you work in the food industry, you need to be committed to creating products that are safe to eat. So it's important that you follow good cleaning and sanitizing procedures in your facility. Exposure to harmful microorganisms such as bacteria, spores, fungi, and viruses can contaminate the food products that you work with. And if your customers eat this contaminated food, it can result in what are known as foodborne illnesses. But by following good cleaning and sanitizing procedures, you can help to eliminate these microorganisms and protect the food products that you're working with. In this program, we'll discuss the cleaning portion of this process and various cleaning procedures that you can use to help ensure that the food you work with is, in fact, safe to eat. When you work in a food processing or handling facility, there is always a chance that the products that you're working with could be contaminated by harmful microorganisms, which could eventually lead to your customers contracting a foodborne illness. But you can greatly reduce the risk of contamination by using proper cleaning procedures. So let's take a look at how cleaning can help to keep the food products that you work with safe to eat. Cleaning is the act of clearing debris from a surface, such as wiping crumbs or liquids from a countertop. There are different ways to clean different substances from different surfaces, so it's important to know what methods are best for the surfaces you're working with, and what cleaning products you may need to use as well. In some situations, just dusting and vacuuming can do a fine job. But if cleaning products are required, there are several types to choose from, including soaps, detergents, degreasers, and glass cleaners. Some cleaners can be harmful to your skin or eyes, so before you start any cleaning job, you should make sure that you are wearing the proper personal protective equipment, PPE. You won't always need PPE, but if you're working with hazardous materials, you should wear whatever it takes to keep yourself safe. If you're unsure whether you need PPE or what type of PPE to wear, you can check your Sanitation Standard Operating Procedures, SSOPs, or Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point, HACCP plan. The simplest way to ensure that you're using the right cleaning product is to read the label on the container. It should identify the surfaces on which the product can be used and what types of soils it can remove. If the information can't be found on the label, you can always check your facility's SSOPs or HACCP plan. If you are still unsure which cleaner you should use, consult your supervisor. When you use good cleaning procedures, you're not only helping to protect the food products that you work with from becoming contaminated with material that is generated inside your facility, you're also helping to prevent contamination from outside sources. For instance, pests like mice and cockroaches can introduce their own harmful microorganisms, which can, in turn, contaminate the surfaces and equipment that you're responsible for cleaning. You can reduce the risk of pests entering your facility by taking appropriate cleaning measures, like immediately wiping up spills and sweeping up the crumbs that attract them. It's nearly impossible to keep surfaces and equipment clean unless you maintain good personal hygiene yourself. In fact, as much as 30% of all foodborne illnesses are caused by employees in food processing and handling facilities who have poor personal hygiene habits. Personal hygiene starts with keeping your hands clean and germ-free. After all, you use them all day. And it's easy for harmful microorganisms to accumulate if you're not careful. That's why it's so important to periodically wash your hands when you're at work. and to pay attention to what you do with them while you're in your work area. You need to be aware of your facility's rules for hand washing, but at a minimum, you should wash your hands after you enter the facility, enter a new room, cough, sneeze, or use a tissue, use tobacco, eat or drink, touch something that might be contaminated, such as a product that hits the floor, dirty equipment, or a doorknob, and use the bathroom. You should try to avoid the following actions when you're at your workstation as well: scratching your scalp, running your fingers through your hair, wiping or touching your nose, rubbing your ear, touching a pimple, wound, or boil, touching a dirty uniform, or coughing or sneezing into your hand. All of these actions can expose your hands to harmful microorganisms that can contaminate the food products that you're working with. Wearing gloves is also a very good way to keep your hands sanitary at work. But you have to follow the correct procedures to ensure that your gloves are, in fact, preventing contamination. Gloves should be clean and unbroken. Make sure to check for rips or tears before using them. When you're putting them on, you should always hold your gloves by the edge to lower the risk of contaminating them with your hands. It's also crucial that gloves fit properly. If they're too big, they might fall off. If they're too small, they could rip or tear when you move your hands. Knowing when to change your gloves is important as well. If you don't change them at appropriate times, you could recontaminate the surfaces and equipment that you're working with. To keep your gloves free from harmful microorganisms, they should be changed as soon as they become dirty or torn, before beginning a different task, after an interruption, such as taking a phone call, as well as after 4 hours of continuous use. And don't forget, you must wash your hands before putting on a new pair of gloves. This helps to ensure that you don't expose the outside of the gloves to any harmful microorganisms that may exist on your hands. Practicing good personal hygiene may sound easy, but there are actually many different things that you must do to keep yourself hygienic. If you don't follow your facility's guidelines for personal hygiene, you could end up contaminating the food products that you are working with and making them unsafe to eat. So you need to be familiar with the hygiene standards that are set by your facility and make sure that you are meeting them every day. Wearing hygienic clothing is one important way that you can help to prevent contamination of the food that you're working with. If possible, your work clothes should be used exclusively for work and stored inside your facility at all times. Wearing street clothes on the job can introduce outside contaminants. But sometimes you might need to wear clothes to work that have been outside your facility. In these cases, wearing an apron can help to protect the food, as well as the equipment and surfaces that you work with, from contamination. However, you must remember to remove and store your apron before performing tasks outside of food prep areas. Otherwise, it could become contaminated. For example, you should take off your apron before putting out the garbage or using the restroom. If you don't, returning to your workstation from tasks like these could expose surfaces and food products to harmful microorganisms. Masking up is a good way to guard against contamination as well. Coughing, sneezing, and talking can all produce droplets of moisture that could contaminate surfaces and food products. To keep these droplets from escaping, you should wear a mask whenever possible. Finally, you need to make sure that your hair is properly secured. Hair nets should be worn on your head and over any facial hair to reduce the risk of shedding hair, contaminating the food you're handling. There are several ways to clean food processing and handling equipment. But no matter which method you use, an easy way to remember 4 of the most important elements in the cleaning process is by using the acronym TACT. It stands for the time that is required to properly clean something, the action that needs to be performed to clean it, the concentration of any cleaning products that you're using, and the temperature of both the environment that you're cleaning and the cleaners that you're working with. All of these are critical and must be combined correctly for cleaning to be effective. The time that is required to properly clean something depends on the type of equipment or surface that you're cleaning, the amount of soil that exists, the method of cleaning that you're using, and the type of soil that you're removing. Too little cleaning time can still leave contaminants, but if cleaners remain on surfaces for too long, this can also create problems. For instance, if you don't rinse off foam cleaners within the time specified by the manufacturer, the foam and soil can begin to redeposit on the surface, and you might have to do your cleaning all over again. The action you have to take to clean something includes both the effort that you exert to do the cleaning and the activity of any solution that is being used. For instance, the activity of detergents is to dissolve grease and remove soil from surfaces. Combining this with the effort of bringing the cleaning compounds into contact with the soil, like wiping or scrubbing, is what removes the contaminants. Concentration, the C in TACT, is the amount of water that should be mixed with a cleaning product to create a solution that is effective for your cleaning job. This is determined by 4 things: the type of cleaner that is being used, the kind of soil that you're trying to remove, the hardness of the water, and the surface that is being cleaned. You can usually find concentration information on the label of the cleaning products that you're using, but it should also be listed in your facility's Sanitation Standard Operating Procedures, SSOPs, or Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point, HACCP plan. Another thing that affects how well cleaners work is the temperature at which they are used. This depends on both the area that you are in and the cleaning product that you're using. For example, many foam cleansers are less effective if they are stored or used in an environment above 150 degrees Fahrenheit. While the first 4 of the most important aspects of cleaning in a food processing and handling environment are represented by the acronym TACT, time, action, concentration, and temperature, these are not the only factors that you need to consider when you're cleaning. The rest of the elements of cleaning that you must consider are represented by another acronym, WINS. This stands for any water that you are using to clean, the individual that is performing the cleaning job, the nature of the soils that are being removed, and the surface that is being cleaned. The W in WINS stands for water, since the first step in cleaning is usually a rinse with water to remove debris from the surface or equipment. Water is often called the universal solvent, because more substances dissolve in water than in any other liquid. It's very important to consider the hardness of the water when choosing a cleaning product. If the water contains high levels of calcium and magnesium, it's considered hard water, which may create soap buildup and mineral deposits that could damage surfaces over time. Fortunately, there are certain types of cleaners that can cancel out the negative effects of hard water. For instance, cleaning chemicals called chelating agents can produce a chemical reaction that can help to reduce the levels of calcium and magnesium in hard water. So if your facility has particularly hard water, consult your SSOP or HACCP plan. You should be able to find more information about chelating agents in those documents, including when and where you should be using them. The individual who will be cleaning the food processing and handling equipment or surfaces is the eye of the cleaning process. That's you. You must be thoroughly trained on the cleaning processes that you'll be performing. This training should be based on procedures that have been put in place by your company for each piece of equipment and work area you'll be cleaning. Typically, training will address all of the elements of TACT and WINS, such as the cleaning products that should be used, their proper concentration, and the temperature range at which they're most effective, as well as what personal protective equipment, PPE, should be worn to safely do the work. The nature of the food products that are being processed or handled is the next element in the WINS cleaning equation, and is what determines the type of soil that needs to be removed. There are 5 basic types of soil that the food industry must deal with: fats and grease, proteins, minerals, sugars, and complex carbohydrates. Each of them requires a cleaner that can perform the activity that is designed to remove it. You should check the label on the cleaner that you want to use to find out if it can effectively remove the type of soil that you have to clean. If you can't find the information there, your SSOPs or HACCP plan should have more information about the intended use of the cleaners that are used in your facility, including what kind of soil they can remove. The last element of WINS is the surface that needs to be cleaned. The most common surface in food processing and handling environments is stainless steel because of its high resistance to corrosion. But you may need to clean many other types of materials, such as plastics, rubber, and other metals as well. Some metals, such as aluminum, can corrode quickly if the wrong cleaner is used. And if metal surfaces do become corroded, it can lead to equipment failure, affecting your food product's quality and safety. So you need to make sure that you're using the correct product for each surface that you clean. Read the instructions on the label and consult your facility's SSOPs or HACCP plan or your supervisor if you have any questions. Not all food processing and handling facilities are the same, but you can use the same set of guidelines when you have to manually clean most equipment and surfaces. Knowing which techniques and tools to use can help you to do it quickly, effectively, and safely. To start, you may need to put on personal protective equipment, PPE, to keep yourself safe while you're cleaning. If you have any questions about what PPE you should be using, check your facility's Sanitation Standard Operating Procedures, SSOPs, or Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point HACCP plan. If you still can't find the information you want, ask your supervisor for help. After you've put on your PPE, the next step is to perform dry cleaning on and around the area you're focusing on. Dry cleaning is exactly what it sounds like: cleaning with equipment that can be used without water or other liquids. Brushes, sweepers, scrapers, and vacuums can all be good tools for dry cleaning. They can remove soils and dust from food processing equipment, as well as surfaces such as floors, ceilings, walls, and ducts. One thing that you always have to keep in mind as you clean is the possibility of cross-contamination. You can help to decrease this risk by using color-coded cleaning tools. Each color should be assigned to a different area of the facility or used for one specific task. For example, a blue brush might be used to clean surfaces and equipment that come into contact with raw meat, while a yellow brush could be assigned to areas of the facility where the meat is handled after it has been cooked. If your facility employs a color coding system, you need to make sure that you are familiar with what each color represents, and that you use the correct color tool for each cleaning job that you do. The second step in most cleaning processes after dry cleaning is to do a thorough rinse with water. Hot water can actually cause soil and particles to stick to the surface you're working with. But cold water isn't optimal either. So the water you use should be warm, between 100 degrees and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, you should apply a cleaning solution and the surface should be scrubbed thoroughly. Different surfaces require different cleaners and cleaning equipment, so consult your facility's Sanitation Standard Operating Procedures, SSOPs, or Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point, HACCP, plan if you have any questions about what to use. Whenever you're using a cleaning solution, it is especially important to make sure you are wearing the proper personal protective equipment, PPE. Some cleaning products like chlorine bleach can be harmful to your eyes and skin. If you're unsure of what type of PPE you should wear, look at the chemical's safety data sheet. This will give you more information about its effects and how to protect yourself from them. When you're finished scrubbing, you'll need to do a final rinse to remove any residue left behind. As you can see, you can use a lot of liquid to clean surfaces and equipment. So what happens to the liquid that's left behind? Any liquid that is left over after cleaning is called wastewater. This can include materials like detergents, soaps, and other solutions that have been used for cleaning, as well as the fats, oils, and greases that have been removed. Wastewater is usually collected in a tank, pumped out regularly, and transported to a treatment plant. Producing too much wastewater can be very harmful to the environment, but you can help to reduce the amount of wastewater produced in your facility by doing as much dry cleaning as possible. When you're cleaning at work, you need to remember that your company's customers are depending on you to keep them safe and healthy. You are the first line of defense against microorganisms that could contaminate their food and make them sick. So you should be sure to follow your facility's cleaning guidelines to the letter. Let's review. By using proper cleaning procedures, you can greatly reduce the risk that the food products you work with will become contaminated. It's almost impossible to maintain a clean facility if you don't practice good personal hygiene. The acronyms TACT and WINS can help you remember the essential elements of cleaning. Brushes, sweepers, scrapers, and vacuums can all be good tools for dry cleaning. If your facility uses a color coding system for these tools, you should know what each color represents. Cleaning is not the only thing you'll have to do to keep the food products you work with safe from harmful microorganisms, but it is the foundation for preventing them from being contaminated. When you perform your cleaning procedures properly, you're taking the first step towards ensuring that your facility produces products that are free from contamination every day.